Rotem, COO at Repsly. We do field team management software. So if you've got reps in the field that do anything, we've got people that do pool maintenance, we've got roofers, landscapers, we've got quite a few people that do field marketing for the CPG space. Anything in the field where you want to keep track of what they're doing, and you're very interested in the data that they're generating and collecting while they're in the field, then Repsly's the thing for you. So what makes us so great? One, Repsly gives its users superpowers. So basically the ability to see anywhere, see what's going on anywhere, and understand what's going on with the team. It's incredibly intuitive and exceeds user expectations. We built the user interface. We're very proud of the user interface, but we built it on social media paradigms so that reps in the field, when they pick up the software, they pretty much already know how to use it. It's the first enterprise-class mobile productivity tool that leverages these paradigms. When our customers buy our software, they don't want to spend time and energy and money training their reps on how to use the software. They just want to be able to pass it out when they can. It's a super powerful mobile team app that reps already know how to use. The key things that we address are visibility, one, so if you have reps out in the field, you know what they're doing. So Repsly will help you answer these questions. What is my field team doing? What are they doing? What's the data that they're collecting? How do I, as a field team member, it gives me visibility into the rest of my team. How do I compare against what the rest of the people are doing? What's the data that they're gathering? What are the insights that they're gathering? It's also a communication tool. So if you want to get information out to your team, you want to comment on their work, you want to coach them on what they're doing, Repsly's a tool for that. And for reps out in the field, it gives them a feeling of being connected to their team because they can interact with their peers and interact with their management through the app. And then from a productivity perspective, as a manager, you know if your territory is being covered properly, if the reps are going to the places that they're supposed to be going, when they're going, if you've got enough coverage in the different areas. Reps know what they're supposed to be doing next. They can be very efficient. They have all the information that they need to get their jobs done, and they know what work process they have to go through. And then is the data that's being collected, is it as accurate as it can possibly be? So are you collecting data in a structured way, but still keeping it easy for reps to be able to do that? From a manager's perspective, it's a web app, and we'll take a look at this in a second. It's a web app. Everything that reps do in the field is geocoded, and managers can see those pins drop on the map as the activities are happening, and then they can scroll down and see the details of the activities, the photos the reps are taking, the films, forms that people are filling in. Yes, do I have any question?
Maybe you already answered this, but does it allow the field folks to be able to interact with each other as well? If they have a question, and is there a way to, I mean, what if people are nasty, somehow, how do you control?
Sure, there's no moderation in the app, at least not at this point. It's not a request that we've gotten, but maybe that's something that we should consider thinking about for the future. But yes, reps can collaborate with each other. They can post, like on Facebook, they can post their status and people can comment on that status. So basically build that kind of a communication stream, or they can comment on individual activities. You can see here's a photo someone took as an area for comments, and they can comment back and forth and see that stream. Right now everything is public, there's no private communicate, very millennial kind of app. Millennials don't care. I don't see very many in the room, so I'm comfortable saying it. Managers also get great activity reports, so they can see what the reps are doing, when they're doing it. I think this is probably from our demo account. You can see we don't do a lot of demos on weekends, but all the rest of the data is there. Consolidated data about the activities themselves. And then there's very simple dashboards. You can create your own dashboards against the data that the reps are collecting in the field. So for example, you can build a form. If you're in the CPG space, you've got beverages, and you send reps out in the field to make sure all the beverages are where they're supposed to be and that they're in stock. You might be very concerned if certain flavors are out of stock. You build a form. Were there any out of stocks? If so, which ones? Repsly just takes the data from all those forms and gives you the ability to just kind of drag these charts into your dashboard.
How's the data collected? Is there some sort of automatic program, or do the reps have to put it in manually? And what happens if you run into a rep who's isn't as good at entering in the data as some of the other reps?
Sure. So there's two kinds of data that we deal with. There's this kind that we just looked at, GPS coordinates get automatically dropped for every activity, so you know where the activities are taking place. That everything is time stamped and everything is counted within Repsly. So that data reps don't have to enter, it's automatically entered. When they go out into the field though, reps have a very simple application that they use, and we'll take a look at this if all the technology works properly. We'll take a look at this. So reps are out in the field and they have a very social media-esque kind of way to do things. They scroll a list of customers, they check in at a customer. When they check in, the forms that they need to fill out are available there for them. You can assign forms to specific customers or to specific reps. They'll say like, oh, I'm at a Whole Foods and I'm supposed to do an out of stock check here. So they go count the products on the shelf. If they're out of stock, they fill them in manually. That other reporting that I showed you a second ago, you can very quickly see which reps are filling out which forms and which ones aren't. And then through the communication platform, managers can just say, hey Joe, you haven't been meeting your standards on filling in out of stock forms. So again, this is the rep side. Reps have a highly intuitive app. They can see all of their activities, all of the activities of their teammates. Again, it looks very kind of Twitter-esque or Instagram-esque. They scroll up that list and they can see activities that go, and they can scroll forever and see activities from 2 years ago if they scroll far enough. Notifications about messaging and things like that where they can interact. They can manage their schedule. They can add things to their own schedule. Managers can add things to their schedule, and we report against schedule compliance.
Can you just turn it off? What if you're a rep and you just don't want to get paid for the next 12 hours you're at home? Can you
easily log out of the software. And when you're logged out, it doesn't do any tracking of anything. And we've only got about 5% of our customers that track everything that reps do. Most of them just track when they checked in at a customer and what they did at that customer. There are a few that like to know where if the guy went off route in the middle of the day when they're not supposed to. We also do quite a bit of mapping, both in the back office and the rep. If you're adding customers, if you're out there and you're a hunter kind of rep and you're adding customers, we can pull data from Google and Google Maps into the software. You can manage your schedule or your list of customers through mapping as well. So at this point, I'm going to try switch over to we'll start with the web, I think. So this is the manager's console. So when I log in the morning as a manager, I can see where things are happening. This is my demo account that we use in the office. Our office is over on Atlantic Ave, which is here. And so we've had a few demos going on today. These are all the demos that were happening today in the office. I did a couple of activities when I came over here, so we'd have a couple of different points on the map. But if I want to see everything that's happened, let's say so far this year, I can just switch the time frame here and see we've had activities in Florida and in Jamaica. Our development office is over in Croatia, so we get things there. So you can very quickly zoom in and out of the data. You can look at just certain types of activities. Maybe I only want to see the orders that have been collected in this time period. I can set the time period. Maybe I only want to see the orders that were done last month. Maybe only the orders that were done last month by a certain rep. Things like that. So I can continue to zoom in on the data and see it again in this map view. But I can also see and scroll down through the data this way. If I wanted to see a particular order, this is an order Matt took at Calliopes. I can see the detail of that order. I can see where that order was placed, where he was standing when he submitted that order. I can email a link to this order to my customer if I want, and things like that. So there's quite a bit that you can do from the manager's console. This is where I manage my reps, all of my customers. It's a fairly robust customer records management system. We call it a simple CRM because you can capture and manage any data that you want about your customers. You can create your own forms, electronic forms that you want your reps to be able to fill in the field. You create your own forms. You can put as many questions on of many question types that you want. And I mentioned before, we've got quite a few customers in the CPG space doing things like product checks and customer out-of-stock checks for products and things like that. But think of another example as a pool maintenance guy. It's a pretty easy example to understand. The guy gets up every morning, he's got a route he's got to run, he visits 10 houses, and he cleans their pools and adds chemicals. Today, if you're not using Repsly, you're leaving some sort of a door hanger that says, I was here, that's Joe, I was here at 10 o'clock, I put chlorine in the pool and it looks good. Now with Repsly, you can create a form that says what chemicals did you put in the pool, did you clean the filters, take a picture of the pool before, take a picture of the pool afterwards, and when you leave, when Joe leaves, it just emails that form to that customer and they get that proof of service there. So you can create as many forms with any data that you want to collect on those forms as well. I mentioned scheduling. Managers can manage rep schedules or reps can manage their own schedules. And then we have a whole series of reports, which I won't go into details on, but you can just suffice it to say you can build your own dashboard. I'm going to just look at what's happened in the last month. You can build your own dashboard from those forms. I might have 10 forms where my reps collect data, and there are 3 or 4 questions from each form I want to bring into this dashboard, because this is stuff that's important to me. So every morning I can come in, check this dashboard, I can have it emailed to myself, and things like that. And then if we can switch to the mobile side, I'll show that real quick as well. Yes, I got a question, maybe? A rep can take orders on their mobile device, right? So we don't have a web interface that customers can go to, but when the rep goes out there, they can place orders. We have electronic forms, we have a kind of inspection audit kind of a tool, and then we've got this order tool, notes and photos. Those are the different types of data that you can collect.
Well, you said you could send something back to the customer, right? So can the rep do that first before they go to send like an invoice or something?
Sure, they could. So I'll show you how that works real quick. I'm trying to be really cognizant of time. So I'm a rep in the field. Right now I'm looking at the activity screen. So this is showing me all of the activities that I've done, but it also shows me activities that my teammates have done. So Matt Kramer is a teammate, Kenzie King is a teammate. So these are all the activities that they've done throughout the day. If I wanted to look at some details, like Matt stopped at Townsman, I want to look at the order that he took, I can just tap into the order and I can see the signature, the details, the discounting, the quantities of products and things that he put on that order. It is possible as well, maybe this answers your question partly, I can send this order by email to a customer. I can make a copy of it, I can cancel it, I can send a copy of it, and things like that. And I can do that with any form that I fill out. So I can see all the activities, I can comment on these activities, people can comment back, and what I mentioned before, I can put my status up here, what's on my mind. I might ask the team a question, does anybody know how to set up this display, or things like that. My list of customers is here. We call them places because some of our customers, some of the places people go are pools. Some of them are rooftops. One of my favorite customers, Joel Webb down in Dallas, Texas. He replaces and repairs roofs on churches. And he uses Repsly. He's completely paperless now and does all the construction management and change orders and contracts with customers through forms on Repsly. But my customer list is here. I pick a customer that I want to go see. I can see the history of that customer. I can see the schedule of when that customer is supposed to be visited, when I visited them in the past. I can see all the contact information about that customer. And it's an unlimited list. I can extend it as long as I want, capture any information that I want about customers. And I can see that customer on a Google map if I want to get directions or anything else to that customer. Oops. And now I'm going to check in. So I've checked into this customer and I have access now to take a photo, fill in a form, take a note. If I fill in a form, it's just pick the form that you want to fill in, start answering questions, put a signature on the bottom, and hit submit, and the form goes back. Take notes, orders, audits, and other things. When I'm done, you know what, I'm just going to take a quick note. When I'm done, I check out of that customer, and away I go. If I switch back now, last switch for you. This should have worked quick enough that it synced back that data. If I go back to all activities for myself for today. So I just checked in at work bar and took a note. The note said hi. So that data now is available for my manager to see. You can see where I was when I took this note, made sure that I got there on time and things like that. So that's basically the loop of how Repsly works in a nutshell. That's the end of the demo part, so I'm happy to take any questions at this point. Yes.
How many developers are there in Croatia?
We've got, the Croatia team's 15 people, so a couple of QA, a couple of product management, and I think right now, we just hired another web developer, so we got 13 people in Croatia now that are doing actual hands-on development.
What brought you to decide that spot?
The company was actually originally founded in Croatia. The two guys, Marco and Marco, are from Zagreb. They both went to the University of Zagreb together. The first customer was there. And then about 3 years ago, they decided to kind of revamp the product entirely and get some funding. So we created a new company here called Repsly. That's now a subsidiary organization. We just kept the development there. Yes, sir.
Do you typically replace an existing food service application at a company, or is it usually bolt-on or kind of new, or?
Yeah, so there's two things that we typically replace. One is pen and paper, or maybe less old school in that, email and spreadsheets and notes and things like that. And the other thing is laptops. So there was people that we've got a customer of Nike Golf in Europe. They've got about 50 reps. And they used to use laptops to report all the data that they collected when they went and visited pro shops and whatnot to merchandise the products that were there to run events. And so that's, if there's a bigger back-end system that we might integrate to using our API, we're replacing a laptop extension of that software. But for the most part, I'd say 90% of our customers use Repsly standalone, and it's new technology for them. Sir?
Thank you. And this could be a credible, practical question. Now, I'm using Repsly. Can I write, there's a lot that I can do to communicate with my field or back to my manager. However, can I write something or do I need to type everything?
So we use the standard interfaces that are available on phones and iPads. A lot of our customers speak. So there's an option, right, just to hit the microphone. If you have the keyboard installed that lets you write instead of type, you can use the hand recognition and things like that.
Thank you.
Expensive gas or.
You can build any form that you want. A lot of our customers have built expense forms where they track those things. The part that we do track is start of day mileage, end of day mileage, and hours worked. So for some people that works for payroll. If your needs are more than that, you would create a form. This is what I want you to fill out at the start of every day you're at.
Are you planning on extending to the enterprise space? For instance, insurance adjusters or groups like that? I'm just curious.
We've had some of those. So our customer base, we've got right now 600 customers in 50 countries
Wow.
using Repsly for all kinds of things. About 400 are in the CPG space, but that leaves us about 200 customers that are doing other things. I believe there is an insurance adjuster in South Africa that's using us. We've got insurance salesmen selling aftermarket auto insurance somewhere. I think they're in Pennsylvania area. They've got 10 reps or so that work down there. So it can be used. Some big customers, we've got, like I mentioned, Nike Golf. They're using us in 10 countries. Kimberly Clark is using us in 6 or 7 countries in Africa. Philips Lighting is using us. So there's some big customers that already do use us. They'll typically integrate our software with some backend to keep the customer lists accurate, but they're using us for data that those big backend systems typically don't collect. Yes, sir.
So what's the most effective way of selling the product?
So our sales model right now is pure inbound. So we don't have any sales reps in the company. We do it all online. So we create content that's meaningful to these people, and then they find us. We have a free trial, 2-week free trial. We have customer success managers that help get people up to speed and understand the software and be able to use it. But as of now, we don't have any sales reps at all. We do have a few resellers. We've got 5 or 6 resellers, one in Russia, South Africa, Mexico, Indonesia, and other countries that go and do a more traditional outside sales model, but we ourselves. And so our resellers account for probably a third of our business. We have the rest of the company to make that part. Yes.
How do you address the concern of micromanagement?
That is a big brother, right? Couple of ways. So our customer is usually the management at our customer is the one who's going to be concerned about that. And if they're too concerned, they won't buy it. But typically they'll put it in place, and we have anecdotal stories and a few customer testimonial stories where they say, if they're in the sales world, for example, my rep started making $1,000 a month more in commissions because they were using Repsly. And the mobile side of the software, it's so intuitive to use, and it gives the reps such better control over their days that they actually like using it, and they pretty quickly forget about the other piece. If the reps are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they don't really care about it. If they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, typically they start doing it pretty quickly, or they go and find themselves a new job. But it can be an issue. We do have this workforce tracker, and I think I mentioned only 3 or 4% of our customers use the workforce tracker. The rest of them are just managing the check-ins. It's really no more than you would get if you're, posting something on Facebook or whatever when location services turned on. Yes, sir.
If they have 10 stops, and they put the addresses in beforehand, and then it tells them which is geographically the best way to go.
We don't have that routing yet. That's something we're looking at right now on your customer list on the mobile side. If you put those 10 stops are in there, we'll give you the distance to each one, and you can see them on a map, so you can kind of do your own. But we don't have we haven't called out to that Google API yet, but that's something that's on the drawing board.
Is it like expense reporting with that? Some reps can do that, so like they take photos of their receipts, or like if they're in a special system set up.
They can do, so Reps is kind of a blank slate. It's, you can create any form that you want. We have about, 40 or 50 pre-built forms that you can choose from out of the library, but you can build whatever form you want. And if you want your reps to take pictures of receipts, you can create an expense form. First question is take a picture of the receipt. Second one is what's the amount, what's the purpose.
And do you find that if they're in like a company with people that aren't reps, like it meshes well with the rest of the company's expense reporting systems?
We haven't seen that use case come through yet, so I don't know if it would or wouldn't.
We track real time.
We track real time. We could track real time inventory. So the stock levels on the back of you taking orders. There's 2 ways we can do that. We have a products, I can't see this up here, but you can import your list of products, and the list of products has some fields with it where you can keep the inventory going. That would be done typically though through an integration to your warehouse management system. We have a pretty robust web services based API. Yes, sir.
Is everything for internal use, or are there some layers that can be made visible for the customer's customer?
We have a customer's customer portal, and you can do that. So the way that works is, if I created 25 forms, each form will have a different name. I can give you a login to the customer portal and say, give Joe access to this form, and this form, and that's it. So when you log in, you'll see a list of those forms as they get filled in. I think that's it. Thank you.